Hey guys, thanks for stopping by for another episode here at alliseeisW. In today's video, we'll be covering latest updates on ETH. We'll be covering the top two biggest Ethereum treasury companies as well, why I'm so bullish on Bitmine Immersion Technologies, as well as SharpLink Gaming, ticker SBET. We'll go through technical analysis of ETH, BMNR, and SBET, what my price prediction is for the rest of 2025, as well as what's going to be headed on the near term. Now, if you're new to this channel and you enjoy this content, I would really appreciate you hitting the like, subscribing, and turning on the bell notification for more related content. Let's get started, guys. Crypto Goose posts ETH breakout confirmed 7,000 seems obvious. So we are at this location. In fact, we had the prior resistance now at support $4,000. We're consolidating. We're going to be getting up to the $7,000, I believe, in the year 2025. Urkel posts Ethereum with some serious compression going into the week after making new all-time highs and dropping into support. Expect a big directional move out of this area soon. So when we had the updates, from Jackson Hole, things just started going very bullish. And since then, there was so much uncertainty, people taking profits at the end of the month. But, I think September is going to be a month where we're going to have the opposite of what most people think in terms of, things dropping down in the month of September. Again, we have, President Trump making a lot of initiatives in the crypto space, and that's going to be very bullish for ETH as well as these ETH treasury companies. The feature is now posts ETH adoption curve. Yes, this will happen. 100x growth over the next 10 years compared to the last 10, coming from ETHZilla, saying that, there's just going to be more and more financial institutions buying pension funds, and eventually central banks will try to get a piece of, tokenizing Ethereum as well. So what have we seen? We've seen exponential growth. ETH is a store of value adoption curve. We are currently here. It's still early. That's why Zilla actually, converted from a biotech company to an Ethereum treasury company as well, with over 100,000, tokens of Ethereum. So Zilla is here to capture this opportunity as well. Bitmine BMNR posts is, Tom Lee, Fundstrat gentleman and scholar, is chairman of BMNR. BMNR is the ticker. We have this nice visual, with Tom Lee, climbing up this upward hill, hugging Ethereum, and Ethereum saying, "Thanks, Tom." It'll be interesting to see what Tom Lee says in the next couple of days. I mean, Bitmine, their focus is the alchemy of 5%, hodling as much Ethereum as they possibly can. They understand that, ETH is, gaining the backing from Wall Street to tokenize as a digital asset. So there's going to be a lot of upside coming up in the next couple years and decade. Crypto Goose posts as treasury companies coiling for the next leg up. BMNR leading the way. Amazing falling wedge. Send it. So, what is this? I mean, we see a bull flag, upward trend, continuation pattern. It's only a matter of time. Once we're going to have that reversal, we'll go through technical analysis as well, what my price prediction. But this is looking very bullish for BMNR. There's only going to be upside from here on out. John posts says BMNR volume keeps dropping all the way down. Big day coming. So obviously we see this consolidation pattern. It's only going to be a matter of time when we see things start rocketing for BMNR. Joseph Lubin, just posts, I am 100% aligned with almost all of what Tom Fundstrat said. Yes, Wall Street will stake because they currently pay for their infrastructure, and ETH will replace much and many of the siloed stacks they operate on. JP Morgan probably operates on several siloed stacks from all of the banks they've acquired and absorbed over the years. They will need their heads fully in the game because our game will be called finance. They will need to become the TradFi company that operates on decentralized rails. That means staking, running validators, operating L2s, L3s, participating in DeFi, and writing smart contract software for agreements, processes, and financial instruments. This will be a relatively easy transition for JP Morgan because they've been exploring and using ETH technology for their private blockchain network since 2014, 2015, and many other financial institutions also have solid ETH experience. collapse. The narrative of L2 cannibalizing L1 will very soon be shattered. Yes, ETH will likely 100x from here, probably much more. Yes, ETH will flip in the Bitcoin BTC monetary base. Yes, Tom and I are friendly and get on calls intermittently to discuss elements of the strategy and ways we can collaborate in the general furtherance of the strategy, even while we compete in highly differentiated ways over time. The one quibble that I have with what Tom has been saying, and I keep telling him this, he is not nearly bullish enough. But the real problem is that it is not possible to be bullish enough. Nobody on the planet can currently fathom how large and fast a rigorously decentralized economy saturated with hybrid human machine intelligence operating on decentralized Ethereum trustware can grow. Trust is a new kind of virtual commodity, and ETH, the highest octane decentralized trust commodity, will eventually flip in all the other commodities on the planet. Decentralized trust is all you need. So that's very bullish. You know what's to come. Ethereum could potentially flip Bitcoin in terms of network value. And we've heard Tom Lee say that. Max Post is one of the most overlooked and undervalued CEOs in the space. Joe Chalem has been with SharpLink for 1 month. The ticker is at SBET. So we got Joe Lubin, co-founder of ETH, and now we have Joe Chalem, who worked at BlackRock, setting up ETHE Fund, one of the biggest, ETFs to date. Just with the last couple of months, there's so much inflows going into ETHA. We know Joe is going to really set up SBET for success, and that's why I'm bullish on SBET as well as BMNR. Cointelegraph posts SharpLink Gaming has $760 million in unrealized gains. You think about it when ETH actually got to like close to 4,900, unrealized gains was close to a billion, but where it currently is 760 million in unrealized profits. Q3 earnings is going to be very bullish. You see, just with the earnings per share growth, it's grown significantly. The company is continuing to stack ETH. Their average cost is, at 3,500, while price of ETH is like 1,000 more per token. So definitely huge upside. Bitmine Immersion Technology, just looking at since July to now, they continue to stack tokens of ETH. I mean, now, their percent supply is 1.48, getting close to that 5% alchemy. So, target progress 29%, EPS growth 189% growth, with 1.8 million tokens, equating to like $7.81 billion just with that digital asset net value. SharpLink Gaming, currently with their ETH holding at close to 800,000 Ethereum, EPS growth 90%. They have, an MNAV of 1.03, target progress 79%. I think they're going to continue to aggressively buy. You see that they aren't stopping. They continue to just exponentially purchase no matter the price. Average cost will eventually go up, but the key thing is their average cost right now is at 3,500 industry standard right now. No second best when it comes to that price point. Let's pivot over to technical analysis. So we're looking at Ethereum technical. So we're looking at, price heat meter as well as alpha trends. I like using these two trends just to see how momentum is moving and what are the resistance and support levels as well as momentum building based on, weighted volume relative to the price. So what we saw, during July, we had that buy indicator, price began heating up. And, when we got to that all-time high, close to 4,900, it had a sudden pullback there. Good thing is we're still in that buy signal. I think things are just consolidating now. As soon as we see ETH, having a nice upward movement, then we may very well just rocket into the next trajectory. I'm forecasting somewhere in the year 2025, 7,800 is where my overall assessment is. And Tom Lee says, we're going to get somewhere around 10,000, 12,000 by year end. So we're not bullish enough with ETH. Let's take a look at BMNR technical analysis. So current price right now, the price heat meter at 25%, very low. It's ice cold right now, which is why we have, the overall momentum indicator indicating, as a sell indicator. But I think given the fact that the price is at low price point. We're going to see momentum build. Relative strength is going to reverse here based on just volume being very low. And then that's going to kick things into gear. We'll see MACD reversal and we're going to get, a buy rating for BMNR. But I definitely do think $43, there's huge upside. We're going to see it start ramping up and it's going to start rocketing from here on out. We may very well consolidate around 70, $80, but we've already seen BMNR become a triple digit stock. Long term, this will play out like MSTR. It'll grow and it'll catch up to strategy. BMNR is, the ETH of Wall Street. People like, betting onto stocks that hedge Ethereum, and BMNR is one of those stocks. In addition to SBET as well, SBET is definitely another giant out there. I mean, just looking at the technicals, I like how the price heat meter is in the ice cold right now with the sell signal, but I think it's only a matter of time where we're going to see that buy signal switch because the price heat meter is oversold. I think when things look like, RSI is oversold with bearish convergence, that's when we're going to see that reversal to the upside. Definitely do think 17 buy low, sell high opportunity where we're going to see this ramp up to $35 before we get to $60 is my perspective.
Why was SharpLink the right next move for you, and what excites you as co-CEO?
First of all, we believe we're at a moment that is one of the most exciting in the financial services era, at a paradigm shift where new networks, decentralized that are trusted, are going to drive the real world economy as well as the global financial system. I believe that we're at a moment that matters. And joining SharpLink was an opportunity to fulfill two missions. One is to be the most trusted accumulator of Ethereum to drive shareholder value, while at the exact same time being a force in the ecosystem to promote institutional adoption of Ethereum in order to advance this new paradigm.
Street going onto ETH, they're even going to stake ETH or even use ETH. Everyone's kind of there are probably more people who think that it's a layer 2 story and nothing benefits the layer 1. And I think that that's what's going to be shattered. And when it does, it'll be a step function. So I think the upside case for ETH is actually higher than, let's say, Bitcoin did 100x. Could Ethereum do 100x? I mean, Joe Lubin sort of has that kind of upside in his mind. Because Joe and I are in dialogue. I mean, we are really partners in trying to push ETH as a treasury, as a digital infrastructure. And I think that could happen because there is probably a significant probability that Ethereum could flip Bitcoin as well in terms of network value. And then if someone thinks Bitcoin's at $1 million, then imagine what it means for Ethereum, because it is not just Wall Street financializing onto blockchain, but it's AI, but it's also part of the US focus on AI dominance, right? Ethereum plays a strategic role there. Now, if MicroStrategy had tripled the upside of Bitcoin, then that means in theory, the Ethereum treasuries could triple whatever Ethereum could do. So, I don't think you're going to go wrong saying that the Ethereum treasuries are a good investment class. But if you're looking at what Bitmine's doing, it's those other things I was saying distinguish it. And that's why, maybe we will be at the front end of that.
So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed another episode where we covered latest updates with ETH, BMNR, SBET. I'd love to hear what your comments are, which stock you're bullish on. Are you holding on to both BMNR, SBET? I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, I would really appreciate hitting the likes, subscribing, sharing it with your network as well. Thanks, guys. I'll talk to you on the next one.